If you're wondering where the fuck is What If Bell was techno, and if the video gets all fucked up because of that, I am sorry, but yeah, I'll get to it. So What If Bell was technically will be coming out tomorrow when I redo it and everything. But I want you guys to know that I want to do this What If because I want you guys to see what kind of person that why Deku became such a prick. But anyway, I'll get to this video. It was just another day at school. The last day, even. Getting beat up by Bakugo, being called quirkless, and being rejected by the very person he had a candle for. To him, it just shattered. And when Deku saved Bakugo, All Might said to him right behind his back, he whispered it to Izuku. He said, "You can't be a hero, kid." It broke his heart so much that he could no longer no longer. How do I say this? No longer feel anything. So, it was annoying. On that day, when he arrived home, Inko said this to him, like, "Son, are you okay?" As Deku looks at his mother with those cold and empty eyes. As Izuku said, "I'm fine, Mom." He heads up to his room and Inko's like, "That's Izuku." Inko's saying, "You're not fine. I could tell. Someone broke your heart." I think Izuku went up the stairs and crying on his pillow like this. Why? 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 My fig. The only person I had a candle for. And he broke my heart. Oh, guys, TK, do you think that was good acting? Because I'm trying to be really good, so I will get back to story. As he sat there crying every day for the next 2 weeks. The next week I was going by. After the 2 weeks went by, there was that one day. 2 weeks go by, and he goes to the beach, and he knows someone cleaned it. And he saw Bakugo just screaming his head off, and he sees All Might. And he hears that Deku gets behind a corner and hears All Might saying, "Yo, good job, young Bakugo. Now, eat this to inherit my quirk." As Deku's heart sank. As Deku's like, he could have passed his quirk to me. As Deku's rage just grew for All Might. He hated heroes. But he knew that heroes like All Might were keeping the peace, so Deku decided to not deal with it. He first begins going through a forest. When he goes through the forest, he finds some type of panel in the middle of the forest. It was far out from the city, which no one even knew go to anymore. And something was engraved on it. The Iron Legion. As Deku was curious, he put his hand on the panel, and all of a sudden his hand went straight through the panel, and a little thumbtack went through his finger, went inside his finger to analyze the blood. And the blood was actually Tony Stark's remnants, or was almost exactly the same as Tony Stark's blood type and genius. So the doors began opening, and when Deku looked at the underneath them, he saw stairs. So he begins going down them, and when he was going down them, he found a room. And he hit the button, and when he walked through it, a bunch of lights came on that blinded him. But when he removed his hands from his face, he looked around all over him. It was a hallway full of weird-looking humanoid armor. And the first armor that caught Izuku's eye was the Mark 42. As Deku puts his hand on it, the suit activates and then begins going on to Izuku. And then it begins installing the nanites into his bloodstream. As he was screaming, as the suit's getting onto him, but as soon as the helmet went on, the scream went silent. As he went unconscious for about 2 hours, he woke up and he noticed he was a bit taller and a bit more smarter. As Deku said, Mark 42 on deploy. As Mark 42 fell to pieces, as Deku's like, how did I know the name? As someone said, well, sir, you are Iron Man's successor, candidate. As Deku turns around, she sees a hologram name, Jarvis. As he was like, Jarvis? That's a weird name. As Jarvis said, well, I don't judge your name, Master Izuku. As Deku said, Master Izuku? As Jarvis is like, yes. As Deku like, what is this place? As Jarvis begins explaining how this is the place of, this is where the Iron Legion is stored. And Deku says, what is the Iron Legion? Jarvis begins to tell him that the Iron Legion, sir, is a protocol made by Tony Stark himself in case of in case the world would come to an end, sir. But that never happened. As Deku's like, well, could you explain to me what was I a candidate for? As Jarvis begins explaining about how there are multiple candidates and they failed to meet the applications, the only person that did was Izuku. And how Jarvis began explaining about how Tony Stark was never had powers, but he built these armors. As Deku smiles and says, so, do I own all this? As Jarvis says, yes, along with a fortune. As Deku's like, how much are we talking? As Jarvis begins explaining the amount, he begins telling him about probably 40 billion, sir. As Deku's like, 40 billion? As Jarvis says, yes, that is indeed correct. As Deku just sits down on a chair he finds, he's actually trying to priestess the others like, no, this can't be happening. Am I dreaming? As Jarvis says, no, sir, you're not dreaming. This is real. As Deku's like, so, how do I get all these things working? As Jarvis begins to explain that the Mark 42 transferred all the data into the nanites into his brain. As Deku begins saying, so I can command this suit? As Jarvis says, yes. As Deku gets up and puts out his hand and just says, the Mark 42, come to me. As the pieces begin flying straight towards Izuku, which is saying, whoa, that's a little fast. As all the armor begins putting onto Izuku, Deku, as the helmet begins putting onto Izuku, as he grabs it, just says, not this time. As Deku's like, wait, what do you mean not this time? Why do I feel like I've done this before? As Jarvis says, well,
you have the memories of Tony Stark and his experiences. So, yeah. As Deku's like, well, can I take this thing for a spin? As Jarvis says, yes, you can. But however, I'll be like monitoring you. As Deku says, yes! As Deku begins going up the stairs and begins closing the entrance for his armors. And no, he won't not be joining Class 1A, he'll be a vigilante. Vigilante first, guys. Vigilante first. As Deku begins to fly up into the sky, and he begins to hover and looking around his whole country, he just says, "Man, I never knew I could get such a view from up here." And of course, they try because sonars can't detect the Iron Man suit because the Iron Man suit's so advanced that Tony made. But Deku will make the Mark 43 because he's gonna build that shit. But I'll start it off. I'll start beginning. 5 weeks later. Not 5 weeks later. I'm gonna say a week went by. A week went by, and Inko sees her son's a bit more happier than ever. And when he first got home, she noticed he got taller. And Inko was so happy that his son grew a bit, but she said he still didn't have a quirk. And as Inko's like, oh, okay, sweetie. And when Deku got home the next day, he saw his whole apartment burnt to the ground. As he walks up to the place, he sees fire. Not fire. First, he uses his glasses to analyze the situation of what happened. Deku begins scanning the building, checking in any all the camera's old footage. He finds the number 2 hero burning a villain right in front of Deku's and Izuku's former home. As the feed gets cuts out and just says, "Damn it, that son of a bitch must delete some of the footage." As Deku's enraged by this, he begins going out killing some villains and a few heroes. However, he's been monitoring Class 1A from a far distance. And Mei Hachime was really interested in the armor. It was so advanced that she wanted to get her hands on it. But the person called Iron Man could not be caught. But I'll get to the story. As this villain's saying, "No, please! Please don't kill me! I didn't mean to!" Blast his head off. And the one who did it was Izuku. You know, he does have experiences from Iron Man, so he does have an experience of killing people. And the person that was being rescued was a normal woman, just a civilian. As Deku says, "It's no problem, ma'am. See you around." As Deku begins flying, almost about to leave, someone stops him. Right behind him is Endeavor and Aizawa.
First, Aizawa says, "Stop. Stop there, Iron Man." As Deku stops and just says, "So, I guess the pro heroes finally caught up to me." As Endeavor's like, "You damn right you are. You damn right we are. Now surrender. Now coming peacefully or use force. And right now, kid, I want to use some force." As Aizawa says, "Endeavor, calm yourself. We're here just to capture him, not hurt him." As As Deku's like, so, do you guys really think you can beat me? As Endeavor's like, what are you talking about? Of course we are, kid. It's 2 quirks against 1. As Deku's like, laughs in his fire, just says, you guys are so stupid. But let's begin. First, Deku grabs a glass bottle. He throws it up into the air and blasts in front of them. The first person he grabs is Endeavor, flying through 3 buildings. Endeavor's like knocked out. As Deku goes back. As Deku uses propulsion cannons on his hands and goes back to Aizawa, going straight for him. However, Aizawa dodges and ropes Deku's leg. But however, Deku blasts the scarf away, and Aizawa was surprised about this guy's reflexes. They were so fast. As Deku was doing a backflip, landing on the ground, sliding, and slowing his velocity with his blasters that were behind his back. Deku got up and just says, "You're not bad, Aizawa. Too bad the number 2 hero got knocked out." And Aizawa's like, "Damn, whoever this guy is, he's good. I need All Might." As Aizawa begins contacting All Might, just saying, "All Might, I need you," in a text, and it says, "I'm on my way, Aizawa. Yeet." As Deku is trying to get away from Aizawa is grabbing his legs every single time. And Deku says, "You know what? Fuck this." As Deku puts his hand out and begins to shoot up. Okay, he begins to. Okay, how the fuck did I just stutter during that whole scene? I have not fucking stuttered since 16 minutes, guys. What the fuck? But whatever. As Deku was about to shoot a beam that would stun Aizawa, All Might comes crashing in and gets behind Aizawa. This says, "Don't worry, I am here." As Deku's rage for his suit began to grow, and he's still in the Mark 42. Plus, because when they take it off, they're gonna try to hack into it but no, Jarvis is not gonna let them because Jarvis is the most advanced AI that ever to be. And Jarvis is gonna be fucking done making the Mark 43s, Mark 43. So, yeah. As All Might begins saying, "United States of Smash," goes for punching Deku, but Deku blocks it with his arms. However, the impact did manage to damage his arms, but however, they were still operational enough for him to maneuver in. As All Might says, "Damn, looks like that piece of armor is able to be sturdy enough." As Deku begins cracking his neck in his suit, just saying, All Might." As All Might's saying, "Yeah, your moves are pretty basic. That's why I've analyzed them. Now I know how to counter your every move now." As I was says, that suit must be some type of anti-quirk system, resistant to some quirks." As All Might's saying, and he begins going super speed and disappears. And Deku's like, "I haven't seen that move before. Wait, I've seen that move before. Wasn't I in? Wait. Damn, he's gonna knock me. Karate chop." Chops Deku in the neck and falls unconscious. As Aizawa says, "Thanks, All Might." Another second, then he would have gotten away. As All Might picks up Deku and just puts him on his shoulders, says, "Don't worry, Aizawa. No, we unmask this kid and get him to jail." As Aizawa tries to unmask him, But when they do, they get an electric shock through. Aizawa gets an electric shock through his hand. Just says, "Ah!" As Aizawa says, "Damn, that guy must have hotwired his suit so that if anyone tampered with it, they can't get into it." As All Might said, "Wait, where's Endeavor?" As Aizawa says, "Oh, he cut to Endeavor and through 3 buildings, knocked the fuck out." And yeah, I want know what you know what I'm gonna. You guys can decide how Inko dies in comic section. How should he die? Up to you guys, but I'm thinking of doing this as a fucking texting story. Plus, if you guys really fucking enjoy this, please tell me. I'm gonna continue it because I want to and for fun. As they begin wondering, All Might says, isn't Mei Hachume the smartest one in the support class?" And as I was like, "You're all right. She can probably hack into the suit, and we can see what he looks like." As Class 1A hears that All Might and Aizawa have captured the vigilante called Iron Man, as Baku's like, "Finally. I could have beaten him." As everyone looks at Baku, like saying, "No." And I want to say that they've been weak in school still, but the USJ incident never happened still, so. As Deku begins, Mei Hachime, she hears, "Mei Hachime!" As the door breaks down, she's, startled, "What are you doing here, All Might?" As All Might says, I need you to crack into this suit." Plops the suit in front of her, and she says, "Oh, you got a suit? Well, how'd you get it?" As All Might puts his hat in front of her, saying, "Calm down, young lady." As she is, "Sorry, I was just a bit excited." As Aizawa walks into the room, says, "Listen, May." As May's like, "Yeah, we need you to crack into this suit and remove his visor. We can't get into it." As May Hachime's like, "What's in it for me?" As both of them look at each other, "You get to study the armor." As she says, "Really? Do I get to take it apart?" As both of them say, "No, you can't. Because Killdozer wants to look at it before you break something." As she just says, "Aw, but okay." As she begins hacking into the suit, as Jarvis is trying his best, but of course, she's only managed to get hacks into the helmet. They don't manage to take the suit off at all. Like the visor. As May Hatsume is like, "Damn, whatever this thing is, it's an AI. Sorry." As she looks at them, like, "Sorry, I can't get the suit off fully, but I can get the helmet off." As both of them look at each other, "Perfect. All we need is Shindo." And they say, "Wait, where's Shindo?" AKA, he's at the fucking beach at vacation. The one time they fucking need him, and he's on vacation. Oh my fucking god. Okay, so okay, guys, imagine he's at a beach having a fucking coconut latte, and he's like, this is the good life." As he gets a text from Aizawa, just says, "Hey, I need you to come back." As he just says, I'll be back in 2 days." As Aizawa says, "Okay." And back to the story, and All Might's like, "Well, what did he say?" As Aizawa looks at All Might with that fucking face of so disappointment, just saying, "Well, he won't be back in. Oh, he'll be back in 2 days." And All Might's like, "2 days?" And Aizawa was like, "Yep." As Hachime cracks the code and says, "There, now let's unmask this iron person." As they remove the mask, and they just see a 16-year-old wearing a helmet. A 16-year-old instead. And All Might looked at Deku like saying, "Nani? Isn't that the kid I told you gonna be a hero?" And All Might's like, "Oh fuck, I made him like this shit." Sweating. As Aizawa was like, "All Might, what did you do?" As All Might's like, "I didn't do anything." As Aizawa looks at All Might just with that fucking glares like saying, as All Might says, "Okay, okay." As All Might says, "May Hatsumi, could you leave please?" As she said, like, "Alright." She leaves the room. As All Might begins saying, like, "Well, I think I may have turned him into this," and Aizawa fucking bitch slaps All Might across the room, canceling his fucking quirk to make him mini All Might, cause fuck him. And Aizawa knows his like secret, just the secret. Oh yeah, just the secret of All Might being like on buff. So, as Aizawa says, "You fucking idiot." As Aizawa says, "Do you know what the fuck you've done?" And All Might's like saying, "What? I'm just stating facts. You can't be here without a quirk." As Aizawa says, "Well, you caused this. If you just said people can be heroes even without a quirk, this would never have happened, and this kid would not have taken villains' lives and some pure hero and some heroes' lives, or fake heroes' lives as well." As All Might's like, "I'm sorry, okay?" As Aizawa like grabs All Might by the collar, like saying, just saying this to him, like, "All Might, your fucking disappointment for a symbol of peace." As All Might's like, disappointed himself now, because he forgot he was fucking quirk, because he's a fucking retard. But then Deku begins waking up, and Aizawa sits right next to him and says, "Whoa, take it easy there, kid." As Deku just doesn't realizes that he's been strapped down with some iron clanks. As Deku's like, "Oh, I see. So you planning on prying the suit off?" As Aizawa says, "Nope. I want to talk to you." As Deku's like, "What is there to talk about, huh? Having the number one heel crush your dreams in front of you, or having him like crush your dreams again, and him saying right behind your back between a bunch of people in the audience saying you can never be a hero without a quirk, kid." And they're still in the fucking like support like classroom. As just Aizawa is. And Aizawa says, well, kid, I see that your mother was killed by a villain." As Deku's like, "Oh, you have that wrong, Aizawa." He's smiling, just says, "What do you mean?" As Deku begins explaining about how Endeavor flamed a villain, but he missed. But he left his flame burning on a building and didn't tell anyone. And how he actually fucked up, and how he murdered an innocent civilian, and that civilian was his mother. As Aizawa says, as Aizawa and class, all the class went, what? Everyone in class, not just like, all the UA students, all the UA like teachers are like through a glass mirror hearing this, and they just look at Endeavor like saying, "Oh fuck." As Endeavor's like, he's getting like a pass this time, but if he does that one more time, his hero life will be fucking over. Like no redos, no fucking like rehiring, just fucking done, just done. But let's get to it. Deku first says to Aizawa, just says, "So I'm guessing you're gonna get Shindo here and try to make him hit me talk." Smiling, just says Aizawa says, "Listen, kid. I don't wanna." As Deku's like, "You don't wanna what, Aizawa?" just says, well, as I was saying, I want you to join class 1A. And the teachers are like, wait, what? And Nezu's like, no, let him continue. As Aizawa says, listen, you have a good heart, but you don't need to kill people. As Deku's like, I'm just doing what I do, killing fake heroes and killing villains. The world's a better place without them. As Aizawa says, that is true, but it's making it worse by killing them, becoming a villain. As Deku's like, the only villain I see is All Might and Endeavor. As Aizawa says, don't worry, he's gonna get a harsh lesson to him. And Deku's like, as Deku decides to listen to Aizawa for a few minutes. As Aizawa begins explaining that they have a rehab program for people like Deku. It's the first time they'll be using it on me. And Deku's like, As Deku looks at Aizawa, just says, well, I'll join Class 1A, but on one condition. And Aizawa says, and that condition is, I get to fucking beat the fuck out of Bakugo whenever I want in class. As Aizawa says, okay, and why would you want that? As Deku begins to explain how he bullied him for his fucking life. And he wants to tell Aizawa something when he gets into the classroom privately. As Aizawa says, what? And Aizawa says, why? Why can't you talk about it here? As Deku looks through the mirror, it just says, well, it's something to do with someone's certain quirk. As All Might, just in shock by this, because, damn it, he knows. And Aizawa says, someone's certain quirk. As Deku says, listen, as Deku says, what? Okay, Aizawa. I'll rejoin your program. And Aizawa says, good. I don't get paid enough for this. And Deku's like, dude, you should get more. You should get paid more for this because you're the only one in here, and you're. And Aizawa's like, problem child, you're now my favorite. and Nezu's like, Aizawa, can you come speak to me? And Aizawa's like, okay, leaves the room. And Deku's like, if I join Class 1A, I get to see Bakugo, that fucking bastard. As Nezu and Aizawa begin talking, and the UA students begin talking behind the glass, as Aizawa says, listen, that kid has potential. He was doing his potential wrong, but I think with the right teacher and the right guardian, I'll be able to teach him. As Nezu's like, Aizawa, he does not have a guardian anymore, so who will be his... As Aizawa stops Nezu before he says anything, he says, I will be his fucking guardian. And Nezu's like, what? Really, Aizawa? And Aizawa says, yes. And All Might's like, Endeavor's like, what if that kid goes rogue? And Aizawa looks at Endeavor, just says, Endeavor, shut the fuck up. And Endeavor's like, jeez, what did I do to him? As Aizawa being assigned the papers, and now Deku is now Aizawa's fucking son. As Deku begins saying, so, am I going to get released from these now? As Aizawa says, only if you get out of the suit. As Deku's like, fair enough. As Deku gets out of the suit, and the suit begins calling back up and just says, Jarvis, find the helmet and reconnect it and make the firewall 15 times more harder to crack.
as as the seat begins locking up, and then the helmet begins flying through the fucking door onto the helmet. And Mei Hatsime was like actually gone to get her lunch because she wanted to study it more. She didn't get much data out of it. She only got data from like the visor, how it worked. But oh no, she's not getting the fucking arc reactor fucking blueprints because no, Chief, no. As Helm begins sliding on, as the armor begins breaking off the fucking chains, and just says, Aizawa begins running to fighting stance, and Deku's like, whoa, 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 calm down. I'm not breaking free. It's just getting the helmet back. As Aizawa says, as Aizawa says, warn me next time, son. And Deku's like, wait, son? As Jarvis looks at Deku, just like saying, yes, sir, he has adopted you. And Deku's like, great, now I have to call him Dad, Zawa. And Aizawa pulls up the scarf, like blushing. No one notices this, but he's blushing on the inside like a fucking tomato in his mindscape. He's like, oh god, he called me Dad, Zawa. Why? And, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna end it off there. I'm ending it off there because I fucking want to, because this is too fucking funny. Please, guys, please hit that like video. Please hit that like, please hit that like and subscribe button, please, because if you want to see more of this, I will fucking do it. And for What Bell was Technoblade, I'm gonna still redo that. I'm still working on it, guys. Because part 2 was not really good, I'm making part 2 way fucking better. Like, more detailed, more like this, but yeah, just, first I'm just gonna add Rambo, and, Ram's gonna snap Technoblade, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you later. See ya, senor.